Hello all, and welcome to another edition of the Book Nerd Diaries. We're the chill, bi-weekly podcast that dives deep into the latest books we've crossed off of our endless to-read list. Please watch out for spoilers ahead, folks, and let's get our book nerd on. Life has a way of flying by before you even know it. Never has this seemed more true than in these, our modern, ever-so-productive times. With many people often working double shifts or multiple jobs just to make ends meet, along with taking care of their families, it seems like there's hardly any chance to breathe, let alone process the endless passage of time. The popular advice often given when dealing with the constantly hectic schedule is to take time to stop and smell the roses and simply enjoy the moment you're in. For the characters in our book today, Rosehead by Ksenia Anske, stopping to smell the roses is a far less pleasant prospect. It turns out that roses are exactly the cause of their problems, as they try not to be killed by a murderous sentient rose garden. If you're in their particular situation, I would definitely advise you not to stop and smell the roses, but instead run as far away as you possibly can. As our story begins, we meet our plucky young protagonist, Lilith Bloom. She, her parents, Gabby and Daniel, and her beloved whippet puppy Panther have all flown from the U.S. to the city of Berlin, Germany, to attend a family reunion the grand mansion home of Lily's paternal grandfather, Alfred Bloom. Alfred is renowned the world over for his prized roses, a centuries-old Bloom family tradition of which he is the latest to inherit. As the family pulls up to the house, the overwhelming smell of the flowers immediately hits Lilith's nose like a wall, though it strangely doesn't seem to have the same effect on anyone else. The family gets out of the car and walks up to the mansion's front door, Lilith feverishly checking to see if she has all of her essential items in her bag before her grandfather greets them. Sidebar: one of Lilith's most prized possessions is a copy of The Hound of the Baskervilles, which automatically told me that this is definitely my kind of book. Alfred himself does little to ingratiate himself to his granddaughter, as almost immediately Panther is taken away from Lilith and led away to a kennel by a servant, along with his own terrifying giant mastiff, Bear. I should probably mention here, for the sake of context, that Lilith's father Daniel is a whippet breeder by profession. Panther is a puppy that Lilith was allowed to keep as a pet, as he was considered a runt. What's more, it turns out that Panther can talk, a delightful fact which no one but Lilith herself has ever been witness to. Alfred, however, is not a fan of whippets at all, and neither Panther nor Lilith is very happy at the prospect of having to be separated. Lilith and her parents are then finally led inside, where a dinner party is already underway. The dining room is packed with a lot of distant family members Lilith had never met before, automatically making things incredibly awkward for her. I'm sure all of us have been in the same situation at one point or another. So, as wild as things are about to get in this book, you can't help but feel for her as she is introduced to one third cousin twice removed after another. What makes this situation even worse for her is that two of her cousins, a pair of twins named Gwen and Daphne, instantly start making fun of her for no reason at all. Completely lost without her dog or any familiar faces, Lilith locks eyes with the young boy sitting in the corner, who seems to be just as uncomfortable as she is. This turns out to be Gwen and Daphne's step-cousin, Ed, who later in the book becomes Lilith's closest ally. Just as Lilith appears to have found a kindred spirit, things start getting incredibly strange. The entire room appears to turn into a giant elevator shaft around Lilith, slowly drawing her and everyone else in the room underground. The next morning, Lilith wakes in her room, finding out she had passed out. Her family believed that this was due to jet lag, though Lilith knows what she had really experienced. Soon after coming to, Lilith's mother Gabby enters the room to check on her and encourages her to take her medication, a request which Lilith only pretends to comply with. Heads up, this book deals fairly heavily with issues of mental health, a fact which I would certainly take into account if such content might be disturbing or upsetting to you. After Gabby leaves, Lilith heads down to enjoy what turns out to be a lavish breakfast buffet. Once she is finally reunited with Panther, the girl and her dog decide to sneak away from the crowd to explore the vast rose garden outside. As the two take a look at the prized Bloom family roses, they hear a strange groaning noise coming from somewhere deeper in the garden. Compelled by pure curiosity, they decide to go and investigate. As the two go through the seemingly endless labyrinth of flowers, they end up getting caught in a tangle of thorns, and Panther swears he can detect the overwhelming smell of decay coming from the direction of the noises. At this moment, they are discovered by Alfred's mastiff, as well as his butler, Gustav. The two sleuths are freed from the bushes and sent back to the house, where Gabby tells her daughter off for disappearing and making everyone else worry about her. Lilith and Panther are sent straight to bed as punishment for their excursion, but our protagonist's curiosity is far from being satiated. Lilith simply must figure out the mysteries of this strange house, and whatever secrets are being hidden in the center of her grandfather's vast garden. Are the Bloom family's famous roses a product of pure gardening talent? Or is there something far more sinister at work? I first decided to read Rosehead myself based on its deliciously off-the-wall premise alone. A killer rose garden that eats people isn't exactly something you see every day in storytelling, so you can't help but deeply respect that level of originality. To my joy, the book delivered all the incredible absurdity I was looking for, turned up about as far as it can possibly go, and I relished every single page of it. Though Rosehead is firmly set in the modern day and published in 2014, I would probably believe you if you told me that the story came straight from the Grimm brothers themselves. I mean, the book even takes place in Berlin, Germany, which I truly don't think is a coincidence at all. You have a deeply curious young heroine and her talking dog companion trying to investigate her family's dark past in a living house that moves around on its own. What could be more incredibly charming than that? You wouldn't think a book about roses would be scary, but somehow author Ksenia Anske manages to perfectly balance the beautiful and the macabre in one stunning package. It's pure fun, yet absolutely horrifying at the same time, much like a house in the woods made of candy, with a witch waiting to lure her hapless victims inside. As stated earlier, some elements may be disturbing for some readers, so please check out the content warnings in our show notes if you decide to read this wonderful book for yourself. Ultimately, I would recommend this book to anyone who loves the darkly spellbinding works of authors like the master Neil Gaiman, or who simply loves a good fairy tale. The story, on paper, is a delightful topsy-turvy trip down the rabbit hole, with our young heroine Lilith trying her best to survive in a world that simply doesn't make sense, and literally everything is out to get her. Besides the incredible fantasy elements, however, you also get a fabulous study of what it means to be part of a legacy and the complex nature of family. You are the product of every single generation that came before you, but in the end, you are also a unique human being all your own, and you are the only one who gets to decide which parts of your history you take with you. Here we conclude our main discussion for today, dear listeners. But fear not, there's still more show to come after this very quick break.
Are you an author, fellow podcaster, or small business owner looking to spread the word about your product or service? Then let us help you. We offer a number of affordable monthly advertising packages in various price ranges. So if you'd like to hear your ad here in future episodes, please head on over to our page at ko-fi.com/bndpod and click on the Shop tab to see what works best for you. Again, that's ko-fi.com/bndpod. Then click on the Shop tab. We can't wait to work with you.
And hello again all. Since we're now on the other side of our break, it's now time for that ultra nerdy part of our show, the Trivia Corner. In this segment, we take a bit of a left turn and give you a trivia question connected in some way to the book we've covered today. Since Rosehead is all about a family with a rich tradition of growing prized roses, we've got quite a rosy question lined up for you. Ready? Your question is, which of these colors does not naturally occur in roses? Is it A, green, B, purple, or C, blue? Your answer is C, blue. Though blue is a primary color and found throughout nature in so many shades, you will never find a truly blue rose in the wild. This is because roses lack a pigment known as delphinidin, which produces the blue shades you'll find in other varieties of flowers. Don't be blue though. You may occasionally still stumble across blue-dyed roses at your local supermarket or your neighborhood florist. My source for this question was rosaholics.com. With that, we have finally made it to the end of today's episode, dear listeners. Thank you so much for joining. Before we go, we just need to say thank you to Julie and Katie, aka one of the very best sisters a podcaster could ever ask for being our wonderful subscribers at patreon.com/bndpod. If you'd like to get early ad-free episodes, 2 bonus episodes a month, and so many other perks, we'd love it if you'd head on over and join them. To show your support for absolutely free, you can also leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, share our posts on social media, or tell the people in your lives about us. Small independent podcasts like ours survive on word of mouth, so every little bit truly helps. Next week, Friday, October 1st, we'll have a bonus episode just for our $5 and up Patreon subscribers, and we'll be right back here in 2 weeks to open another page of the Book Nerd Diaries. See you then! The Book Nerd Diaries is written, edited, researched, and hosted by me, Amber Wilchin. Thank you so much to the wonderful Astrofrek from Pixabay for the use of our theme song, The Grand Entrance, and One Tomorrow Too for our incidental music that plays during the Trivia Corner segment. If you would like to connect with us online, please follow us on Instagram or Twitter at BNDPod, on Facebook at Book Nerd Diaries, or via our website at bndpod.wordpress.com. All the links you need are right in our show notes, so come say hi. If you have any comments, questions, or ideas for future episodes to send my way, please feel free to drop us an email anytime at bndpod@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, everyone, please be good to yourselves, because the world needs you. And don't forget to support your local library.